I know. I'm doing the thing. It says
Mhm.
preparing to live stream, setting it up. And I think it thinks I'm doing it and I'm not doing it yet. So if we're already live, hi, everyone. Oops, I got to turn my volume off. All right. So welcome everyone to our live program. I am with the amazing, beautiful, wonderful Becky Kuhn, and we're going to talk choosing life, empowering your journey to wellness and purpose. I'm going to go back to my screen so I can see what is going on. I've got it. Right? We're doing it, Miss Becky.
We're doing it. Yay.
All right. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Becky. Becky Kuhn is an international bestselling author and speaker, heart-based energy intuitive, holy fire 3, Karuna Reiki master, heart math coach, life coach, theta healer, crystal practitioner, a ULC minister. Through her business Stepstone, Becky empowers people to seek their inner wisdom while holding space for them to discover and grow into the next highest version of themselves. And she does this through compassionate love, which I have experienced firsthand. Becky views her service in this world as a sacred offering. Becky's work evolved in a way she never expected. When her husband of 12 years passed, she knew her life was forever changed. She did not expect she would wake up to the capability of communication with him through mediumship. Now in her sessions, Becky receives guidance from him, Jesus, her angelic guides, her family of light, other people's guides, loved ones who've passed, and ascended masters. Channeling is a gift, she says, helped her deal with loss, grief, and her own health challenges. Being in service to others has given Becky an outlet for the compassionate wisdom she gained. Conscious death, afterlife, channeling, and self-love through a cancer diagnosis have changed her life, work, and very essence. She vows to continue using the gifts she has encouraged to remember and offers the world her passion for living sacred and divinely guided life. She thanks God for every breath she takes. Mm-hmm. Becky.
Yes. Wow, that's me.
That's
wow.
a lot.
That's a lot. That was a mouthful. Wow. Yeah.
I'm going to turn this thing down and I'm just going to see if anything pops up. Okay, cool. So hi.
Oh my gosh. This is lovely to be with you today and whoever else is showing up.
That's right. I have known Becky, what has it been? 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's going to be going on 4 years because we met before my husband passed.
Right.
Yeah, so it's 4 years because he'll
very
be
transformative. We have gotten the privilege to have her in a few of our books, collaboration books, and then we've also published her twice. So 2 of your books.
Yeah.
International best-selling author. So it's always a privilege for me to get to speak to you because you're just so full of light and love and sweetness and gentleness and compassion. I love watching your YouTube channel when you were doing it more. And just your presence has always been so healing for me. It's almost like you don't have to do much, right?
No.
And I feel that from you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's an honor. I am just so excited to be here, be present, actually breathing air and to be present, to be able to share. Right? Yeah.
So our title today is Choosing Life, Empowering Your Journey and Wellness and Purpose to Wellness and Purpose. And we're going to focus on making conscious choices to embrace life more fully and embark on a journey of wellness. So we're going to talk about personal stories of resilience, tools for self-care, strategies, things like that. So if you want to keep hanging out with us, please do so. So I've got a few questions for you and I'll answer them too myself. Having experienced tremendous.
Not just Becky answering, right? Yes. Yeah. Good.
For me, I'm Kyra Schaefer. I am a clinical hypnotherapist, neurolinguistic programming practitioner, master practitioner, Reiki practitioner, teacher, things like that. I started my journey because I had a very severe anxiety disorder. And I was also physically abused, and it took that awakening to just go, oh yeah, I'm trying to kill myself. But I'm going to have this guy do it for me, essentially. And I really wanted to take myself out almost all my life before I found this path that Becky and I have both been on, and maybe in different ways, but still the same ultimate thing. Can I love myself better? Can I love other people better? And so I found that once I learned this for me, and Becky, you probably feel the same way. It's like, once we learn these things for ourselves, it's like, how do we share them and how do we bring them to the world? So you ready for a couple questions?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So can you share a personal story of resilience from your own life that illustrates how making conscious choices would empower your journey to wellness and purpose?
Oh gosh. So let me think. There's probably been, I would say, 4 key events in my life that led me to decisions. Okay. And the decisions that would lead me to stepping into choosing how I was going to experience my life. Probably the first is having a child that was very challenged, and going through the medical system and really losing him at an early age. By the time he was 10, he was in a psychiatric hospital, and they basically gave me no hope for him kind of coming out of that or functioning. And I just I'm obviously not going to give up on my 10-year-old, right? So I ended up, diving into alternative healing, really as a catalyst to support him. Of course, my focus was completely on helping him heal.
Yeah, so like kitchen sink. Like when something big happens, I'm like, I don't care. Like Wayne Dyer said, he said, if I've got hemorrhoids and they tell me that crystal chairs are gonna, or crystals are gonna heal that, he said, I'm buying crystal chairs. I'm buying crystal chandeliers.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And so I did exactly that. Kyra, I threw everything I knew at helping him and supporting him. And that meant working with psychic healers, shamans, doing crystal therapy work with him, doing Reiki, doing, seeing a naturopathic doctor, doing nutrition. I mean, everything from all angles. Yeah. And I started doing energy healing work with him then. Now, what I didn't really recognize was that the apple probably didn't fall that far from the tree, and that I was very empathic myself and very intuitive. So when my son started kind of coming out of the fog he'd been in for years, he started opening up to very high psychic level abilities and intuitions. And so part of his struggle was the fact that he was so aware. And so I tuned in, that he was struggling to be on the planet. How do I navigate this reality when I see this so clearly? And so that really started my journey into alternative healing and diving into, my own spirituality. What does that mean? How do I support my son? And then I started supporting other parents and other children, because so many of the kids being labeled have extreme gifts in extrasensory perceptions and acute, smell or hearing, or they have gifts in so many other realms, that I started taking my passion about what was happening with my son and seeing the light turn on in him, right? Life coming back in him just created this huge passion in me to want to share that with others. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So that was probably the first key event that happened that kind of was starting to set the stage.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And I would think for me, it would be my grandmother. She would say to me, she would go, "Oh, darling, I'm so controversial in the church, sugar, because I believe in reincarnation." And I okay. She said, "I know." She said, "I believe in vibratory action, and I believe that what we think about, we create for ourselves." So she started instilling that in me when I was really young, and I forgot about it. You forget because I was so young. And then when I started hearing this again, it was like, oh, this is like ingrained in me. This is who I am. You know, I mean, she would talk about the I am presence too. She spoke about Jesus as a loving partner, you know, in her experience, and how he guided her every day, you know. So, and she was also going to channelings and stuff like that, Saint Germain channelings from like the 40s and 50s, like long time ago. So she was a pioneer energetically in this world, even though she was just going to this Baptist church, you know, every Sunday. And
I love it. Well, you know,
it's controversial.
I know. Well, this is the thing. I was always so open. I recognize that. I mean, I was raised, you know, in a church, a Protestant church, but I had, in my teenage years, I had a really amazing connection to Jesus. Like I had one of those moments where it was like, there's no doubt in my mind that this exists. He's real. Like in my life, he became very present. But then, you know, you get busy in life and you start having a family and you start raising kids, and I kind of like that kind of felt like it went on the back burner, right? Until I started moving back into energy work, right?
Yeah, me too. I felt that presence. You know, it was interesting. It didn't take the daily panic attacks away from me. You know, it didn't take any, you know, that was always still happening. The anxiety was always still there. And then, you know, the self-medicating for me, I had a big issue with drugs and alcohol and stuff like that in the beginning of the early part of my life, and early 20s and late, you know what I mean, late teens, early 20s, and trying to find God, I think, again, you know, even though that was already there, you know, that energy, that presence was already there. And I was just like, no, that's not it.
Right. That wasn't, no. Yeah. So it is amazing how we we walk through life and we tend to discount that part of us, right? That connection that is so strong. I mean, I'm sure you obviously were very empathic as young, you know. I mean, my son had issues with addiction later on in his late teens and early 20s, because he was so trying to tamp down, right, everything that was coming at him. I gotta somehow turn the knob down a little bit. And his way to do that was self-medicate, you know.
Me too. And, you know, it would help, you know, honestly, it would help for a limited period of time, and then it would come back with a fury, you know, because then I had to heal from the pain, you know, I had two problems then. The first time I just had the anxiety, and then I have the addiction, you know, so now I got two problems I got to manage, you know. And so it's been such a journey in that regard, but I do believe that Spirit put my grandmother in place for me to have a touchstone at some point to remember, you know, to remember. No, this is who you really are, Kyra.
Well, my son was definitely that for me. I mean, you know, there was no doubt in my mind. I mean, I was absolutely intended to be his mother. He chose the right person. I chose, it's like we came together with this perfect plan, and I was the mother to do it because I did throw out the kitchen sink with everything. And I wasn't scared to explore whatever it was that I could find to support him, which then in turn ended up down the road in my life. I ended up, you know, getting in a relationship with this man, deeply spiritual relationship. We were totally connected. We had 12 amazing years together, and he was my husband, who passed 4 years, coming up on 4 years now. And we had this beautiful life. You know, people would always say, you're like the fairy tale, right? You're like the fairy tale. And, you know, it took me a little bit to get there. I mean, I was married a couple of times before, you know, testing water.
No judgment coming from this side of the screen.
Right. So, you know, but I found that relationship that was deeply connected, deeply spiritual. We dove into that part of our lives every day. We could talk a complete day away, and we would be going, whoa, okay, like it's dinner time. Yeah. We would go into those time warps. So, you know, in September, 4 years ago, it'll be coming up on 4 years. he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. And we had just opened business. This is his studio.
Yeah, I remember.
Sitting in his studio. He was a musician.
Yeah.
Teaching lessons. He's got a recording studio. It's actually still exists and in place. And we're expanding in some other things right now. But we had just opened business. We were getting rolling. And then boom. Well, and I was writing a story for you guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
First collaborative I did with you guys.
Woo. Yeah. And I was like, how am I going to enforce a deadline? Like, how do I do this?
Oh, right. Do this.
I did though.
Somehow you were that.
I did that twice to you. Big things happening. And I'm like, well, your work's due.
Yep.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I did the deadline.
Yes.
And what was interesting was, he was diagnosed with the terminal cancer. Mm-hmm. He came to terms very quickly with what was happening. Yeah. And ended up recognizing it wasn't about him surviving. It was about his passage into the next version of himself, and asked me to support him and help him. And we had 20 days. So we found out September 4th, he died on September 24th. And very, very intense 20 days of our life and our saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. So that, again, that was a real pivotal point for me in bringing in so many of the tools that I had learned along the way, the breath work and the meditation and the spiritual awareness that we don't die. I mean, that we do go on, right? That there is spirit, and we were, filled with guidance. We felt it around us all the time. We felt those beings present. His guides, my guides, Jesus was very, very present. And so we did that journey together for 20 days. And I got my story in, even though, well, I think it was just right after that, wasn't it? The deadline was right after he passed. And I was still able to get my story in. And it was great. It was great for me to be able to do that, because it was something solid for me at that moment to be able to grasp onto in the grief that was overwhelmingly, taking over, right? And so during the process, but one of the things I did do is that I wrote a diary, kind of a daily diary, and it started out as a love letter to him. I was just writing to share the experience with him, because he knew, he was always telling me, Becky, there's going to be a book out of this. You're going to write a book about what we're doing. And I'm just like, oh, I couldn't even go there, right? I couldn't even imagine what that would be like. Yeah. And yet he was so sure that I would be writing about the conscious death process that we did. Yeah. And, 3 weeks after he passed, he came to me. So I then began to develop this afterlife connection with him. Mm-hmm. So that was probably the second huge pivotal point for me, to find something to grasp onto out of something that was really, really challenging, very traumatic, right? Yeah. But in the back of my mind, I kept thinking, okay, I'm not done. Like, there's something more. He's coming to me. He's sharing information with me. I have to keep pursuing this. And he was telling me, Becky, there's a book. So I ended up, recognizing, Kyra, that there was something more, that out of this horrific event in my life, there was something more to do. There was another purpose behind what we experienced. We talked about the fact that we came to do this, that we knew at some level, we knew that conscious death was our journey, and that the afterlife connection was what we would be sharing with the world.
Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. And you did write that book, 20 Days Changed My Life. Yes. And it's, like, if people need to really get or understand or feel or know, if you happen to be going through a grieving process right now, or that there's a loved one that's in the process of transitioning potentially, this is a book to read. It offers hope. It offers insight, wisdom, and two, you will walk away knowing that this is not the end. Yeah. This physical, dense, heavy thing that, is we drag around, our spirit drags around this earth, right? Is so temporary, but it's not the end. And it's a beautiful thing. And for you to say, I'm going to share this, I'm going to have that courage to do that, girlfriend, that's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I knew it took a lot. It took a lot of courage and trust, to be able to say, I'm going to share these intimate details of my life that are hard, intense, but I'm going to do it because I'm being guided. So not only did I have Jack kind of continuing to say, this is it, but I also had Jesus. I also had my other guides and my spiritual connections saying, yes, Becky, this is the journey. This is part of it. This is part of your purpose in being here. So then the third pivotal event took me into 20 months after Jack passed. I hear the word cancer again. And it was me, and it was stage 3 breast cancer, invasive ductal carcinoma in my left breast. And wow, that was pretty intense because I'd written the book. It was very successful. I was moving on in my practice with people. I was loving aspects of my life, but I was missing
Hello,
Jack
Shu.
horribly. I was in grief. I was still experiencing so much of my loss of him. And it was not, I won't say it was easy having connection with him, because it was easy for me to say, wow, this is amazing. I feel him in his light. I know what that's like. I feel it.
Yeah.
So, wow, I would like to be there. And I'm not saying I was suicidal. That's not it.
No.
I was aware of the amazing space and energy that we get to experience when we leave this planet. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beyond words, right? So I was a little challenged with, am I gonna stay or am I gonna go? I'd love to join you.
Did you feel yourself having that kind of conscious awareness as you were, looking at treatment or looking at things coming up for you, where you were like, all right, here's the deal, I'm sticking around?
Yeah, I did. So I got to one point where I knew that I had to do something. Like I did a combination, Kyra, of
holistic,
traditional with holistic, where I did have the tumor removed. Lucky for me, it wasn't in my lymph nodes. So I did some traditional treatment, also coupled with lots of nutrition and energy healing and emotional healing and, emotion code and hypnotherapy. And everything that you can think of. Once again, I threw the kitchen sink at myself this time and recognized that was just part of it. And at one point I stood in front of Jack's picture and I realized that I had to make a choice to stay. There was that part of me that I think had kind of been waffling. How am I going to live my life without him? Really, truly, how am I going to go forward? And something inside of me, probably spirit, probably that nudging, that little itty bitty nudging inside that's saying, no, you're not done. Becky, you're not done. And I stood in front of his picture and I said, I have to stay. I have to stay, Jack. And that was a hard thing to do, to say, I'm going to declare my life. And whatever that means, whether it means I am staying or going, I'm declaring life right now. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to walk through that. And so then I knew I was writing a second book. Now, Jack had already kind of left the door open, the first book, to say, we're not done, right? So I knew probably a second book was coming. I did not know it was going to be about my own journey.
Right.
No clue. So that was then another catalyst into me recognizing that what I was doing, the steps I was taking could possibly help others, could possibly help, somebody who's looking at that kind of diagnosis. And where the heck do I turn? What the heck do I do? How do I even begin to find myself? And all that goes on with that. And so, so I started writing the second book about that journey and did a little bit of treatment. And then I started doing a little bit of radiation. And truthfully, that was to support my daughter, because my daughter was in tremendous fear about me, about her losing me. And so I made a conscious decision that I was going to go ahead and do some radiation to ease my children's mind, right? It wasn't for me. I probably would not have done it if it was just Becky, but I don't live in isolation. We don't live in isolation here, Kyra.
No.
We are part of a bigger network of family, friends, colleagues, right? What we do. And so I definitely made that decision knowing full well that it was for my children.
Yeah.
And halfway through, I got COVID. I got really, really sick. like the cancer wasn't what was getting me.
It was COVID.
It was COVID. And I literally, 2 years to the day that Jack passed, I was saying to him, is this really how I'm leaving? Wow. I don't know that I'm going to make it. I was so bad. And yet, something inside of me just kept going. Something inside of me just kept saying, no, it's not this way either. Yeah. And I'll tell you truthfully, I'm not going to swear on this show, but there was a moment of time where I was starting to come out of it. I was starting to feel like, okay, Becky, you're going to survive this. You are going to survive this. And a wave of energy washed through me. And it was like, I am not done. I'm not done.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay. I am living my life. I am going to be helping other people. I'm going to step into this life with everything I got. Yeah. And that's it. That since that time, I've healed. I'm cancer-free. I wrote the second book, and it's like, and I'm moving forward in life, and I feel vibrant and alive.
And you look it too. You look it, girl.
Yeah. And and all along the way, using a lot of different tools and techniques to keep.
Yeah. And we'll definitely talk about those in just a second. By the way, the book is Breathe the Deep Waters of Love. And that subtitle is A Dive into Loss, Grief, Afterlife Connection. I always forget that. Well, self-love and living life forward. Yeah. You're the best human. Tell you what, you just always inspire me to no end. I want to just make sure that I got the right subtitles too. Yep. 20 days changed everything. A love story. Oh, okay. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. What in the heavens? Hold on 1 second. You probably know the name and title of your own books, right? 20 days change everything. A love story, moving through conscious death to afterlife connection. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So guys, go out there. You can also see her. If you just go out to Amazon, her books are on Amazon. Can they also order them from you, or do you mainly just do it through Amazon?
I have them here at the shop. If somebody wants to order with me, yeah, I absolutely do that. But I just do that one-on-one. If somebody wants to contact me, yeah.
Cool. And is there anything else you want to, just any other projects, things that you've got going on, things that people might be able to continue working with you, or getting to know you better, getting to know themselves with your help better?
No, what's interesting is my work, while it took a little bit of a hiatus after Jack passed, it started expanding. And so what happened was my work evolved into connection, right? And what's happening, it also evolved online. And so I was interviewed by Lee Harris on his Impact the World show.
Nice.
I was interviewed by Sandy Sidgebeer.
He's also did your forward, didn't he?
He did my forward in the second book. Yes.
Yep.
Beautiful man. Beautiful man. And well, that was Jeff Free, an Australian, but
that's right.
he commented on it. Yeah, he read it
Yep.
and commented for me. And then so I've done some podcasting, I've done some interviews. I'm going to be doing a little bit more regular podcast work and developing some online courses and
Nice.
Working online probably more and more, because it's beautiful to be able to reach people. Energy knows no bounds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. And so people are amazed when they do sessions long distance, like what we're doing right now, Zoom, right? And the energy.
I feel the love. I feel the love.
Exactly. Oh, so it's like, it's a beautiful thing for us to be able to do that. Not only.
I know the world is so small now. It's so good. It's so good. Is there a way that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, they can go to my website. It's just www.beckykoon, BECKIKOON.com.
Yeah.
And my contact info is in there. They can just send me a note, and or email me as well.
Yeah.
But all that information is on my website. So
okay. And what do you tend to like to work with people on? Do you have like a favorite thing that you notice a theme in who the type of people that you work with or the type of things you help people with?
As a Reiki master, I do a lot of energy healing work. So people come to me for stress reduction or, relaxation or those things. But that's kind of just the baseline, because what ends up happening is it ends up being almost like a spiritual mentoring or guidance, because I am tapping into spirit when I'm working with someone and bringing in whatever information is available to them.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is I'm just the conduit for the energy. And so I get to experience and see them in their light. In the amazing being that they are. And then just hopefully my goal is to just share that with them and help them even recognize a small piece of who they really are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's probably as much helping someone remember the divinity within them.
Yeah.
Just by me being there and sharing what I can and sharing the information that comes through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah,
kind of like being transformed in the master's presence. It's not because it's not better than less than, I think people get that confused, but people who are like, who committed their lives and themselves to shining their crystal, it's just a clearer vision through, that's all. And that master, that clear crystal is just there to help polish yours. And that's it, but people do tend to feel more, aligned, more balanced, more whole, because something inside of them sees or senses that you truly see who they really are.
Yes.
And I
absolutely.
think that, yeah.
I have people say that all the time.
There's transformation, not because, like I said, a better than less than. It's my light sees your light. That's what Namaste is all about, which we, what do they call parrot? We parrot it, when we're done with yoga, our yoga session, but it's really so much deeper than that,
Yeah. And it's a beautiful thing, because it's so humbling for me. Like I come out of, when I'm working with somebody, I am so humbled by spirit and what spirit shows them, or a loved one that comes through to be with them or to support them. It's like, I am in awe of people and what they bring to the table, and blessed be that I get to just help them see it, right? Or to help them recognize the amazing soul that they are.
I'll just tell a quick little anecdotal story. But I was doing like reading or doing something fun with a friend of mine, and some energy work and doing some stuff. And all of a sudden I reached out. It was an impulsive feeling. And I slapped her hand like that. I just slapped it hard. Hard. And she goes,
what was that?
said, "Oh, what did that mean for you?" Because it felt like it did not come from me. And she goes, "Oh my gosh, my grandmother used to do that to me all the
Oh,
time."
yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, well, she's here. Is that cool? Like, is she abused? Like, do we need to heal this? Like, what's going on? And she was like, no. It was very playful and fun. So
Yeah.
even if you have those kind of impulses to reach
Mhm.
out and smack a friend, just know
Just know
it might be coming from a
get that
loving place.
impulse. Right. From grandma.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. And
Yeah.
you said there was four. I think those were the three. Do you want to say the
Well,
fourth one and we'll go into
no,
some
actually, it
tools?
was my son. It was Jack's passage. It was my cancer diagnosis and COVID.
Ugh,
Those
those are the
were
four.
things. Those were four huge turning points for me in making choice. You know,
Mhm,
and especially
mhm.
after COVID, I call it COVID courage, because I got the courage to finally take my life
Yeah.
and take my life force and say, no, I'm not done. And God, you help me.
Yeah.
Help me do this.
Help me
Because
do
I'm
it.
not leaving. Right.
Yeah. You know, Becky, it's interesting that you say that because I was at a pivotal point in my kind of career and what I wanted to do next, kind of moving away from publishing and that kind of thing. And I was going to be speaking on stage with Gabby Bernstein, Neil Donald Walsh, like the whole, like
All those great
all the
people.
things that when we think about, you know, as healers and practitioners, to get to stand on stage with people that have transformed our lives and also
Yes.
be a speaker.
Yeah.
I got COVID. So I couldn't go and speak. I couldn't do the panel discussion. I couldn't do anything. I got COVID. I'm sitting at this hotel in Phoenix, in Scottsdale,
Wow.
thinking to myself, are you really kidding me right now? Like all of the things that my ego thought were like the thing, the way, you know, to be someone, to be important, to be valuable, to show up and perform or something like that. And to get to know people and get to know their hearts and get to be a part of that experience. And then also get to talk to all these people that I revered and feel equal to them, right? Ego is so nasty sometimes. It's so nasty. And because what would that mean? The opposite would be true. I don't feel equal to them. Right.
Right.
And so I'm like, all right, great. So I get COVID and I'm sitting in the room. And so for 4 days by myself, quarantined in this stupid room, grateful I wasn't hooked up to machines, that, you know,
Yes.
wasn't in that place, you know. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening to Ram Dass, nonstop. So Ram Dass all day, every day. It's just playing in the background while I'm in a tremendous amount of pain. And I come to the end of it. It's the last day that I'm going to be there and I'm going to leave the next day. And I'm finally getting my feet under me. And I have what I think is an awakening. I do still think it's an awakening. You can probably feel it. And it was so beautiful and so amazing. I was actually hallucinating and I had not been taking any drugs or anything like that. And haven't had drugs for 25 years or whatever. And I was actually trying to order food online and I couldn't see.
Right.
And I was like, why can't I see? And so I'm like closing an eye and like, I got to order food, you know, not really thinking about it. And then I was like, there's something wrong. Because that's the first thing our brains go to, right? There's something wrong here. And I look down at the white sheet, you know, that I'm laying on the bed, and I'm looking at the white sheet and all these colors and this kaleidoscope of colors start moving through my awareness, and I'm seeing them, I'm visually seeing them. And I'm thinking, okay, this is just so weird. And I'm like, okay, am I having a stroke? Am I having a stroke? Am I having a stroke?
Right. Right. Oh no, oh no.
I'm having a grand mal seizure. What's happening? So I go and I order my food. Didn't stop me, Taurus right here. That's not gonna stop me from ordering my food. I'm hallucinating hardcore. I'm still eating. Okay. So I get all that done and then I turn the lights off. And I turn the lights off and I lay back in bed and it is a light show. a complete light show.
Yeah.
And I'm
Okay.
thinking to myself, okay, am I going to die? Should I call someone? Should I do something? But I'm in so much awe. It is complete awe. I have never felt this feeling of peace and bliss and love and connection. Really, it was awe. It was more than love. It was more than peace. It was just like, this is it. If this is it, I am good for the rest of my life. And then I felt this feeling of like moving, transitioning, going to the other side. And I was like, now without Todd. And then later on, I called Todd and I was like, listen, if I die tonight, I just want you to know that I love you. And he's like, you're fine. And, and then he was worried the next day. He said, I was really worried, but I didn't want to upset you. And but it was interesting because what Ram Dass says is that the master comes to the door of all knowing and they refuse to walk through. Many do. And it's because then they will lack knowledge, in a way. They will know it. They will know. They will not be the one who knows anymore. They will be the one that is, the knowing. And so I just thought it was so fascinating to hear you talk about this, the whoosh of the energy and just, I am here and claiming that. And I'll be honest with you, Becky, since that happened, so that was November, since that happened, I really went downhill. I really went downhill. I was very much like, why am I here? I don't want to be here anymore, and I'll cry about it a little bit, but I felt like I don't have purpose here, and then I was like, well, I'll make this YouTube channel. That'll make me feel like I have some purpose. Yeah. And I think that's why because guys, we're going to be doing collaboration book. And it is about passion. It's about purpose. And it's born, the idea was born through me from not knowing what I'm doing. Why am I here? Why am I sticking around? And so I'm definitely, what would you say to somebody, if they found that they are struggling with their purpose and not quite sure what to do?
For me, I would have to say that it was recognizing the divinity of it all, right? The divinity of it all. Even the cancer had something to teach me and show me. Even the COVID had something to show me. It was up to me to see it. It was up to me to see the beauty of what Jack and I shared and the death process and the afterlife connection. It was up to me. And so, I think about, and my breathing into and leaning into Jesus even more, like what's happening is he's so present now all the time in my life. I feel him, and I have those waves happen all the time now of that compassionate love that washes over. And there are no words. I've tried and I tried. I'm writing about it right now too. Again, it's like, how do I describe what happens when that compassionate love washes over? And everything is right on track. Everything's right on track. And so even in the darkest of times, right? Even in the hardest times, if you can breathe and just remember that the body's just doing what it knows what to do. The body's just responding the way that it knows how to respond. The mind is just trying to take care of you and protect you from being hurt more, right? The ego's trained to help you survive, even if you feel like you're not going to, right? Yeah. But there's still something even deeper. There's still something even deeper within us that is divine and has purpose. And each of us have something in the world to share that one other person it will make a difference for. God, see, it makes me cry because it's like, if me being brave enough to share my journey could help one other person say, wow, maybe I'm okay. Yeah. Maybe I can make it through this. Yeah. Maybe if that person can do it, maybe I can too. Yeah. Then that's my passion, right? That's my purpose in continuing to breathe and be on the planet. So when you say you struggled with who you are and what you were going to be doing too, Kyra, look at the next book that's coming out. I mean,
I know. Yeah, I'll fake it till I make it.
so, out of that desperation is coming another level of healing and awareness, not only for you and me, but for whoever chooses to step in and play with us.
Yeah. I love that.
So,
and I get to play with you guys. Like that was the thing, as I was just desperately, I was missing community. I was missing connection. And I was putting myself, I feel like I was like not committed. I was just not committed to staying here. And it was like, well, I know how to get out of my body and not feel things. And I know what to do with that. And I know how to drink alcohol and, talk about things that don't matter and, all this stuff and watch television that's just, negative and hard on me. I can try to decrease my vibration, so that I can feel it, that because I think that it was the other thing too. For me, it was like, I felt that feeling of awe and it was like, why would I want to be anywhere else? Just like with you and Jack feeling that other side. And then and how meaningless it seemed to be, it was like, well, there's no real purpose. But the thing is, if I can bring comfort and love and joy and connection to people around me, to the best of my ability, while at the same time, not sacrificing, myself, my integrity and all that kind of stuff, then I can really feel more fulfilled in this life. But like, I was like, well, who are the people that I love? And that's why I said it to you guys. Like when we were putting the book together, I was like, I love you. I want to be in your energy. I want to be in your presence. I trust you. I care about you, and so to have on the ready, people that I can just go, you want to write a book together? Because you guys are the best humans that I know. and to be in your energy, to pull me out of my own crap is going to heal me from my own self-abuse.
What we do. It's like, and I mean, it's been a while since I've written, because writing a book does take it, like, because mine have been so personal. And I'm sharing intimate details of my life, it took a lot, right? Oh, and then, so then I got done writing the book and I'm like, okay, I'm done.
I'll never write again.
I wrote the second book. We're good. I don't see us writing another book together. And I'm like, but then you pop in and you say, guess what? Let's do another collaborative. So I'm like, oh, of course, I will do it.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it really is all for me, isn't it? me.
Oh, you know what? We have to love ourselves. We do have to love it. We have to honor us enough, right? To be able to keep breathing and stepping out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Any tips or tools that you want to give our friends here, as we kind of say ta-ta?
Yeah. I think one of the things that I have been and even Jack in his afterlife has said to me is that the breath is key. Like finding a way to maintain awareness of body and breath. Like it's just so important. And I find like when I'm getting stressed or something's going on and can throw me into kind of that more third dimensional aspect of my life, where you're busy and you're just working and doing what you need to do. And I just remember to breathe. I just take a breath in, breathe into my heart and just ground and center. And the more that I practice that and the more that I've done that in my life, the more I get instantly connected to my source. And
me too.
And feeling that, right? And so, and then it's like, then it's just like, okay, a breath of fresh air. I feel it. My cells woke up. Okay, I'm here on track.
Yeah.
right? And so, and learning to trust, we have to learn to trust our own intuition, our own awareness, our own body. Like our bodies and our intuition is so wise. We're all unique. I don't have the answers for everybody at all. I mean, I can share, right? We
Yeah.
can
Well,
share
yeah,
our
but and
experience.
I think is if we're connected to the truth, and that's the direction that we were always going in, which is love is the only thing that's real.
Love. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And everything
it.
else is counterfeit. Everything else is something that we're using as a stick to beat ourselves in the head with. Then we can stand in our power with a partner and go,
Yes.
hey, no, love is the only thing. Keep coming back to love. Keep coming back to
Yep.
love. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so, there's just, I mean, and some of those things are just so simple. We forget. We don't have to make it complicated or complex. It's but also, I would also tell people, seek out help or seek out connection.
Absolutely.
When two or more are gathered.
Two or more gathered, the ego can't keep up its charade.
That's right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love is there. Love is there for sure.
Yeah.
I'm a water person. Like if I need to, if I notice myself being on edge or edgy, I'll do like a, Epsom salt bath or something like that, or, dip in a pool. We happen to we live in Phoenix, so we live in an apartment, and so of course we have a pool, because that's how we get cool here. Right?
Right.
And it's like I can get out of my mind and do a few laps and just clarify myself and what now. Like it's almost like I get in the pool and I have that energy, I clear it, I come out of the pool,
Right.
and how am I going to continue with my day? So it's kind of similar, and breathing is so important with swimming, so I'm naturally reducing my, bringing in my parasympathetic nervous system online and taking that deeper out breath than I do an in breath. So it's a rhythm, it's a balance. I like that. I like that flow. And then I also like Qigong, because I have an active mind. So Qigong helps me slow it all down.
Yeah, I've done that too. I mean, a lot of people, yoga, meditation, there's so many things. For me, dancing, I love to put music on and just move my body, just dance.
That's it. Just move your butt. One song on, and it's that song. Y'all know what that song is, whatever that is for you.
Exactly.
Women of a certain age, it's Uptown Funk, apparently, by Bruno Mars.
Oh yeah. So
sometimes it's like Krishna Das. I like Krishna Das. Right. He's pretty energetic Kirtan singer, right? Is that what right? Kirtan.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would just encourage you to see, what is it that sparks you? What is it that you connect with, right?
Yeah.
And go to that, go to it, breathe, go to that, and know that this too shall pass.
Yeah. I love it. All right. Well, tell everybody how to get in touch with you again, and then we'll wrap it up.
You can go to my website, www.beckykoon.com, BECKIKOON.com. And all my contact info is there. So
perfect. And I'm Kyra Schaefer. You can find me at Kyra-Schaefer, because there's another Kyra Schaefer out there pretending to be me. Kyra.
Does she look anything like me?
She's beautiful.
So are you.
I know. So we're sisters. We didn't know it. Kyra-SCHAEFER and .com, and free videos out here on YouTube. We're going to be doing several interviews over the next few weeks. But we got to have Becky is number one. I'm so grateful. That you shared your time with me and with our friends here that are listening or are going to listen later. Please comment in the thing if you have any questions or anything comes up for you. And I'll certainly put Becky's information in the comments as well. And I'm also thinking about doing a membership thing on YouTube. So we'll see how that
Awesome.
goes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So keep in touch. There's a
Yeah,
new
keep in touch, guys.
here.
All right. Thank you so
Okay.
much. And
Yeah.
I'm going to figure out how to end this.
Okay.
But